If it feels like you have no motivation, most likely you are simply afraid to leave your comfort zone. Let me give some examples. Mike Tyson pushed himself to the limit, endured hunger and brutal training to become a champion. Elon Musk slept at his company's factory, went through serious losses, and worked almost without rest because he did not want to fail. Motivation rarely disappears on its own. More often it dies where life is too comfortable, where there is no pressure, no risk, and no need to prove anything. That is why frustration is often directed not at circumstances, but at yourself. Inside you there is already energy, the fear of becoming nobody, resentment about missed opportunities, irritation that you are not living to your full potential. But instead of using this as fuel, you try to silence it with comfort, habits, and excuses. The truth is simple. Until you start breaking the old version of yourself and using your fears and frustrations as a source of pressure, nothing will change. Growth begins with an inner conflict where there are only two options: continue living the same way or accept the pain and change yourself. Most people are afraid of this kind of harsh motivation because it forces them to look at their weaknesses, fears, and accumulated resentment. But that is exactly where the real source of energy is. The fear of being average, anger about wasted time, and resentment from being underestimated carry more power than any inspiring words. This kind of motivation is not self-hatred and not chaos. It is conscious pressure. You stop hiding in comfort and understand that leaving the comfort zone means destroying the old version of yourself, giving up excuses, and accepting a simple fact: real progress rarely feels like inspiration. Most of the time it feels like resistance and exhaustion, where each time you pay a price, either the pain of change or the comfort of stagnation. There is one key thing to understand. Harsh motivation alone changes nothing if you do not turn it into action. The first step is to stop fighting your fears and resentment and start using them. Do not run from the thought that you were underestimated or that you lost time. Admit it honestly and ask yourself a simple question: what will I do today so I am no longer the same person? As long as pain remains only an emotion, it destroys you. But once you turn it into action, it begins to work for you. Next comes real pressure. Sometimes you must deliberately make your life harder. Set goals you cannot walk away from without consequences. Take on responsibilities you cannot ignore. Remove unnecessary comfort that makes you weaker. Discipline is not born from desire, but from conditions that force you to meet certain standards. If you want change, make it more painful not to change than to change. The third point is consistency. Not sudden bursts of anger, but steady action. Every day you should do something that creates resistance: training, work, difficult conversations, or stepping into the unknown. What matters is that it feels uncomfortable. In that state, you slowly rewrite yourself. Over time, you start noticing that fear no longer paralyzes you, but pushes you forward. Resentment stops burning and begins to sharpen your focus. And the final point is control. Harsh motivation should be fuel, not a way of life. You must recover, sleep, and sometimes completely disconnect from work. Otherwise, you will not become stronger, you will simply burn out. Strong people are not those who live at the limit all the time, but those who know how to enter intense effort and leave it consciously. Here is what truly matters. Acknowledge your pain, fix the habits that hold you back, increase the pressure on yourself, create a system of rewards for the right actions and consequences for the wrong ones, and act consistently. Discipline helps you do what must be done, even when it feels extremely difficult. At the same time, do not forget recovery. Set aside 1 or 2 days a week without work. Over time, you will notice that your work begins to attract you naturally, and you start taking the right actions automatically. Stories about fighters and heroes often show two paths through pain, and both begin with rejecting comfort. One path is through destroying old habits when the comfortable version of your personality can no longer handle reality. Pain becomes a way to wake up, throw away the unnecessary, break inertia, and stop being a passive observer of your own life. The other path is through discipline and purpose, where training, fear, and physical hardship do not destroy a person, but reshape them. In the end, this kind of motivation is not about rage, and not about beautiful stories. It is about responsibility for your own life. Pain, fear, and resentment are inevitable. The only question is what you will do with them. Allow them to quietly destroy you from within, or use them as tools to step out of comfort and change yourself. Self-destruction can be the beginning, discipline can be the continuation, but the result always depends on one thing: are you ready to endure pressure long enough?